Hello, my name is Jackson Marwitz, and I'm an instructional designer living in Chicago, Illinois, and I'd like to welcome you to my master's presentation. In this short presentation consisting of 20 slides that will last 20 seconds each, I will be walking you through my master's project, which is my portfolio of work. Before we begin, I'd like to start by outlining what to expect in this presentation. We're going to start with a quick About Me section, and then I will move into my work samples where I will share what they are and why I chose them for my portfolio. Then we will take a look at my evaluation report and the results of that. And finally, I will end with some key reflections. So a little bit about me. I started off out of undergrad as a K-12 educator. During the COVID pandemic, I taught a year fully online, and I decided I wanted to pursue this further. So I decided to attend the University of Cincinnati and get my master's in Instructional Design and Technology and pursue a variety of internships and co-ops while I was there. That's a little bit about me. Now I'm going to dive into some of my artifacts. The first one I want to talk about is the Canvas course I created in one of my graduate classes. This is a 3-week elective course for undergraduate students that was crafted on Canvas Learning Management System. There's a variety of assignments, multimedia, discussions, and assessments throughout. I chose this artifact because it showcases my ability to follow a systematic model that is an industry standard in instructional design, the ADDIE model. I also incorporated Keller's ARCS theory to design many of my assignments and multimedia to make sure they are engaging for all the learners. My second artifact was a course I created during my co-op at Hauser. This was designed to address a gap in customer service related complaints we were receiving. I created 2 separate asynchronous e-learning courses. One was for phone service technicians and the other was for in-person service technicians to address this gap. I chose this as one of my artifacts because it showcases my ability to use industry-leading software and technology such as Articulate Rise and Articulate Storyline. Furthermore, I also had to conduct a thorough needs analysis prior to creating this course, which showcases my ability to do careful planning when creating a course of this magnitude. My third artifact is another course I designed during my co-op at Hauser, and this was the Oil and Gas Industry Pathway. This was a course designed for sales engineers at Hauser who are interested in pursuing and learning more about the oil and gas industry. I chose this artifact because, again, it showcased my ability to use industry-leading software and technology, such as Articulate Rise and Adobe Premiere Pro. I also spent a considerable amount of time collaborating with our oil and gas subject matter expert to create some of this engaging content for our learners. My final artifact is a theoretical artifact I designed. It was an instructional design model called the TA training model. The TA training model was designed to address a gap in training test administrators at Pearson testing centers. During my time at grad school, I did spend time as a test administrator at Pearson, and this sparked my curiosity. I chose this as my final artifact because it showcases my ability to analyze current and emerging research in the instructional design and technology industry. I was really inspired to apply this theory that I'd been learning about and apply it in a real-life scenario in the corporate world, one that I was currently witnessing and dealing with on a daily basis. Besides my work samples, I also showcased my research project on my professional portfolio. This was an evaluation of the Canvas course that I created following modern research and trends. 7 participants were selected to evaluate my Canvas course based on 6 criterion that I determined were most important. The first part of this research study involved me creating a detailed plan that I would use to evaluate my course. It was broken up into 2 parts. The first part was a set of questionnaires that my participants would complete based on the 6 criterion of evaluation. The second part was a usability study that I conducted over Microsoft Teams with each participant. After completing the evaluation with the participants, I conducted a detailed analysis. On the left, you can see some of the quantitative data I collected on each of the 6 criterion for evaluation. On the right, you can see some of the more qualitative data I collected during the Think Aloud user studies to inform some of the changes I would make. These changes were necessary in order to make this an optimal learning experience for the learners. The biggest change I made was to improve the visual design of this course. I added more colors and images to increase learner motivation. I also varied the content and activities within to make it more accessible and interesting for the learners. The final portion of this presentation involves reflection. Reflection is a key part of the learning process, as it's important to analyze where I started, where I am now, what I improved on, and where I can still improve on for the future. As part of my portfolio, I reflected on our 5 key program outcomes. I will share 3 of these in the presentation. The first item of reflection is Program Outcome 1. Apply learning theories and sound pedagogical practices to the instructional design and development process. An example of me doing this is in my multimedia presentations. To avoid overloading sensory memory, I make sure to evenly distribute information between the visual and verbal channel. Next is Program Outcome 3, which is to create authentic technology-mediated learning experiences. Since e-learning is such an essential component of today's instructional design and technology, we need to make sure we are making our learning accessible for all learners. That's why I utilize the CAST framework to design learning that is accessible for everyone. My final reflection will be on Program Outcome 5, which is to analyze research and emerging trends in the area of learning. This is something I did frequently during my time at the University of Cincinnati. One example of me doing this is when I conducted usability tests for my research project. I completed research on usability testing, I recruited participants, and then I had them complete tasks to help me analyze my learning artifact. Perhaps even more important than reflection is gratitude, and that's why I want to say thank you to the University of Cincinnati students, faculty, and all my family and friends. This is not a journey I could have completed alone, and it's not something I take for granted. I'm so grateful to be able to share this work with you today because this is a result of what we've been able to do. Thank you again.